Right now, the good news is the fire has been contained to the neighborhood, but at its peak, we saw thick plumes of smoke as well as explosions into the air. Tech Athletics Director Robert Giovanetti telling us they're cautiously optimistic for tomorrow's big game. If you take a look in front of the Walmart, a group of officers are parked out in front. We've seen investigators coming in and out of the store, leaving her money for lunch and a thank you card. Just to show you how thick it is, take a look at our broadcasting tower. You can't even see the top of it. The app could connect thousands of homeowners to more than 25 vendors here in the hub city. I'll go ahead and step out of the way just so you can take a look at the scene. Now, there aren't as many police officers out here as there were. And all this fireworks that's happening behind me, those aren't the real thing. Those are just people out here popping their own. We've seen investigators going in and out of the home. They've also been in the backyard and looking through cars in the front yard. This is video from the night of Super Bowl Sunday. A car heading south stops to make a U-turn. And not long after, a motorcycle crashes into the car. Without stopping, the driver takes off.
I was pretty distraught.
Daniel and Jennifer Williams were on the motorcycle. You can see here where the bike came to a stop.
They're caring and loving, they'll help you if you need it.
They were 2 blocks away from home when the crash happened.
They had to have saw him. To just turn in front of somebody like that and then not have any regard to any safety, it really upsets me. Because they just laid there, and I don't know how long they just laid there for.
The couple is still in the hospital being treated for serious injuries.
I know that his wife has broken her leg, and so she is having to have surgery on her leg, and then he is having some memory issues right now, and then they are treating him for a blood clot.
I couldn't believe it. It was horrible. It was a pretty big accident.
Shane McFarlane, owner of CBD Plus USA, caught the crash on camera, but had no idea until Monday morning.
Seeing this, I don't know where it came from. It's just a crazy, horrible accident.
Daniel's sister, Tracy Copeland, says she's thankful for the people who stopped to help, but hopes the driver will come forward.
I want the person responsible caught and, justice, I guess, to be served, because to do that to another human being is it's disgusting.
Getting ready to go home looks a little different lately. After being away from family for more than 6 months, we have more to worry about than just the clothes we pack. Because coronavirus hasn't gone away.
More deaths this week, and it's important that that we continue to lift you up in our thoughts and our prayers.
So to prepare myself to see my loved ones for an outdoor family wedding, I've decided to get tested for coronavirus.
It's primarily dependent on what your exposure has been, what the other people's risk factors are.
I've booked an appointment for Walgreens at 9:45 and pull up to the drive-through testing site. To be tested, you'll need an appointment code and some form of ID. And not gonna lie, I'm really nervous. The test is self-administered, which means I'll be in charge of sticking a swab up my nose a whole inch. Oh my gosh.
With the fact that we've got many different companies that have stepped up to provide their version of the test.
I've always been the squeamish kind of person, so it takes a while for me to realize I have to do this. And just when I think I've got it, okay. With the clear picture of my nose, I get out of my head, swab each of my nostrils, swirling 5 times each.
You'll receive an email telling you the results of the test today.
But even if I do get a negative test, I still have to stay vigilant.
You very well may think that you're negative and still be in a position of infecting your family members. And I know that that's not why you want to go, and that's not what you want to do. You're testing in order to make sure that doesn't happen.
Wear my mask, wash my hands, and social distance. Because when it comes to the ones we love, there's no such thing as being too safe. Allysa Tellez, KLBK News. These are the finishing touches. A sticker here and another there. a small part of an entire year leading up to now.
Everybody wants to be more protected. Everybody wants to go home to their loved ones at the end of the shift.
After the January 11th crash, taking the lives of Lieutenant Eric Hill and police officer Nicholas Reyna, and leaving firefighter Matt Dawson severely injured. It didn't take long before Lieutenant Brady Robinette knew he had to do something about it.
Helmets that we currently have, they're really good for fighting fire, but they're not so good at providing protection for the drastically different type of forces we'd see at a wreck. Light assembly right here.
Lubbock Fire built a machine to test helmets and how well they stay on the head, testing their own helmets, hard hats, and even off-roading helmets, with this one coming out on top.
Is a helmet that's used for another industry. It's used for specialized search and rescue inside the fire service.
This helmet has a 4-point chin strap and foam to protect the head.
It provides impact absorption.
And while his research isn't totally scientific, Robinette's work has now been published in Fire Engineering magazine, with more than 300 helmets waiting in storage for every fireman in the hub city. So as each helmet gets its moment under the gun, it's only the beginning of an even bigger goal.
To get a helmet in the hands of anybody that's on the roadway, that works on the roadway.
More protection for those who protect us.
Most people think it's a good idea.
Allysa Tellez, KLBK News.
Mother's notes in here.
A scrapbook of photos, a glimpse into the remarkable life of Phil Crenshaw.
Where do you start?
He is the last surviving chaplain's assistant to serve during World War II.
Dear Holy Father.
And has even served as guest chaplain for the U.S. House of Representatives, one of 22.
Everywhere he wears that uniform, he still fits into it. It was issued to him 50 some odd years ago. Very patriotic.
Back in November, Phil had taken a few falls. His granddaughter, Diana Roten, took him to the hospital to get checked for broken bones, but stayed for something else.
So the fact that they tested and he came back positive was actually very surprising on all of us.
The 98-year-old had walking pneumonia, but the most difficult part of the journey, being apart.
That was the scary part for us, was not being able to be with him if this was the end. We were just like, that was where the fear came in.
Phil spent 7 days in the hospital before being released.
It seemed like forever.
Phil says he had never experienced anything like it before.
I didn't think I would because I'd never been sick. I'd never spent a day in the hospital.
Now back home, he has no pain and is even getting back into his favorite pastimes. He says it was the encouragement he received and his faith that kept him going.
That's all he had to hold on to. He didn't have a familiar face. He didn't have a family member. He didn't have a cell phone. He had his faith.
In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
And just like the support he's received, he is passing that message along to others.
Bring others along the way that I have been and have seen victory, that they can too.
Oh, nice.